Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here, and as the title says, over this weekend, I went to my 10-year high school reunion. So I graduated. This is my actual high school shirt. We did a bowling thing. It has like an X on the back with everybody's names on it. I have to remember to post this on the Facebook thing because I talked to two people and they're like, "Oh, I lost my shirt." And I was like, "It's like the only thing, if there's anything I'll keep, it's a random shirt. With all the graphic tees I have, I like never lose a shirt unless I just randomly leave it somewhere. I almost didn't have. Does have a really cool. I can't even think what I'm trying. It's a Transformer shirt. It's Optimus Prime, but he's like a samurai. He has like a giant war axe. I almost left that at my ex's house. Thank goodness that didn't happen because I really like that shirt, and that would have sucked if it got trapped there with her. If there's one thing I got, it's my shirts. So this is my shirt. I went to University High School in Ferndale. Apparently the school's gone. I did not know that. It's been gone for years. They like tore it down to make apartments. Surprise, surprise. It's actually a good spot. Because admittedly, the school was like right next to a bunch of houses. And it was always that thing where it's like, oh, you're literally, if you're in that house, you're across the street from the school. It was that sort of thing. And I was always like, man, I every time I would leave, I'd always be like, man, I wonder if they hate it over here. Because it's just, school lets out. So I was always curious about that sort of thing. Like, did they like that? Do they regret that? But it doesn't matter. Now the school's gone. It's apparently been torn down for years. But yeah, University High School in Ferndale. We got this tiny little thing. I was talking about it to some people while we were there. So we found this out maybe, I think it was 11th grade. So we had a thing where, excuse me, we did dual enrollment. So that was just when half the day you're at school and the other half you'd actually like go off and do some courses at a college. So don't know why I'm coughing. For some reason, my nose is insanely itchy. I think with stupid allergies. The weather has been so dumb lately. Michigan weather, and I have allergies. And it's if you have allergies, Michigan is one of the worst states you can possibly live in. Like, it can be the simplest thing. Even when it's summer. It's supposed to just be warm. But it's rain like crazy, and sometimes it's warm at night, sometimes it's cold at night, and it makes my throat itch. It's just like, and we got the virus. I can't go out anywhere. Like, oh man, my throat itches. It's like I'm gonna get all sorts of looks. It's crazy. Not that I'm going anywhere anyway. I don't even like people on a normal day. So virus time, I'm definitely not talking to anybody. But we had this. We found out in like 11th grade or so that our school was like basically an old middle school. All our stuff was like low to the ground. So like, you'd have to bend down to get water, and like all the doorknobs were low. And then all the middle school kids, they had the super fancy new building and they got escalators. And I just remember thinking like, man, they get to be fat on escalators and we got to walk around this stupid little U-shaped building built for, 12-year-olds. Like, everything's low to the ground. It was ridiculous. But I always thought that was that's like the first joke I always go to when I tell people, like, that was our school. We got like the high school that was built as a middle school, and everything you could tell was actually lower to the ground. And it was like, why did you do that to us? But it was cool. It was interesting. And because, it's been 10 years and it's easy for me. 2010, 2020, super simple. It's like everybody that graduates this year is going to be like, all right, 2030, their 10-year anniversary. So it's interesting. Definitely a heck of a 10-year anniversary, considering it's just like for people that graduated this year, where it's like, man, I graduated during the lockdown. Like, our 10-year anniversary was during a lockdown, which is why we didn't really do much. It was like a tiny little backyard thing. So I even said I kept saying, I was like, if things are back to normal, I'll definitely be at the next one. If we do like we get like a little mulligan and we do it next year and everybody actually shows up, because it even rained. Like, it was on Saturday, so it rained for one, and viral time. So it was like, I probably only had like, I think at most 15 people even showed up like at a time. So even that was technically illegal. But it was like, okay, not a lot of people showed up because it was a rainy day. It's already like kind of weird, like with the virus and everything, but it was cool to go, see a bunch of people. It was great, it was funny. It was like, oh, everybody does pretty much look the same. Like, 10 years doesn't do that much. It's really just we stayed up a little later, so you just the little wrinkles here and there, and that's pretty much it. But it was cool. I was like, oh, it's an interesting experience. From 2010 to 2020, it's a heck of a time. Went through college, went through unfortunately 2 relationships, just 2 for 2 shitty human beings. I don't know what my deal is. I just get stuck with just a shitty life, I guess. But I did ascend to an even higher level of nerdiness. Didn't even know that was possible, back in 2010, because I was like, okay, yeah, I like Naruto. I watch Toonami. I watch Adult Swim. I watch anime. I like anime. And then 2010 came around, and 2010 was still kind of normal. It was just like, okay, getting into Crunchyroll and stuff. And then 2011 hit. Like, my second year in college is when I got into my super nerd group. It was the Japanese Manga and Cosplay Club. at the University of Michigan Dearborn, which is still going. Actually, if you look it up, I don't know if the Facebook group is public or anything, but you can look it up. Like the group is actually still going, so it's kind of cool. But I was there like the first year my buddy started it, and so I was there for, like from the very beginning. And then after that, I was like, huh, I've never been to an anime convention, and went to anime conventions, and it's just been anime conventions forever since then. You know, except for this year, obviously. I was supposed to go to Kalahari. Colossal Con is going to be my first time ever going to Colossal Con, and I haven't been to Kalahari Resort, which is indoor water park resort in Ohio, which is like it's like 4 or something miles from Cedar Point, which is like the Midwest version of Six Flags. I don't know where some people might be watching this from, but just to give you guys a idea of what is what. But it's an indoor water park, and I probably haven't been there in over 10 years. Like I would go with my family, we would do like little family trips and stuff, and it's apparently super different. Like they were already building new things the last time I was there, so now they have like an entire second half that didn't even exist the last time I was there. So I was kind of excited. I was like, okay, I've been there 2 or 3 times, but it's gonna look so different because it's been over a decade. So I was excited, and it was an anime convention, so that's always fun. And then it was like, virus hit, so hopefully 2021 will be doing that and everything will be cool. But I've gone to anime conventions. I'm living in an apartment. This is only my second place because I was with my ex for a super long time. But yeah, I bought a bunch of katanas. I have like 5 katanas. I have the name Invisiblekatana. I still need to try to find a way to get that like actually changed, because technically, if you look up my YouTube name, if you type in like Ghostman98, because that was my original one, even though I was born in '92. At the time, it was like 2006. I didn't care. I was just like, I want Ghost, because I always want Ghost. And it was like, oh, well, we can't do that, but we can do Ghostman98. And I was just like, sure, enter. It didn't even occur to me to be like, maybe I should get a name that I actually enjoy. And it was still fine. It was just, Ghostman was actually okay, but it was like the 98 thing. I could have at least thought about it and just been like, all right, well, let me do, Ghostman92, if that was even possible. I think I literally typed it in, and it gave me like the first suggestion. I was just like, okay. And I just hit enter, and then that was my thing, and then I changed it however many years ago it was to Invisiblekatana, because that sounds way better than Ghostman98. Although it does always make me think of Space Ghost, coast to coast. But yeah, 10 years, and that's super crazy. So just wanted to make a random video about that. I did my 10-year high school reunion, and it would have been way cooler if we could have done like a big thing, like the classic thing would be Belle Isle. That's a little island we have in Michigan. And that's just pretty much where every big event is done, because that's just how it's done. Like you go to Belle Isle, and that's pretty much it. So maybe next year, if things are back to normal, we'll do a mulligan, and it'll be the whole weekend event like they talked about. They were gonna do like a 3-day thing, and then the last day was gonna we were all gonna dress up and be fancy, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I hate dressing up, but it would have been cool still. It's still like that would have been like the one time I'd be like, okay. I get in a suit like maybe once a year if I have to, if I'm obligated, because somebody in my family's getting married. I'm like, I have no choice. I have to get a suit. I basically have to buy a suit every time I go to a wedding, because my weight is totally different every time I go, because I'll have to wear a suit like once a year, and then the next time I do it, I'm like, I'm fat. It's always I gain weight. It's never that I lost weight. I wish it was that. It's always I gain weight. So that sucks. But maybe next time it'll be opposite. Who knows? I doubt it with me sitting around, due to the virus. But either way, 10 years. It's been a heck of a 10 years. It sucked. This is a crappy 10 years, admittedly. But maybe the next 10 years will be better. Who the F knows? Who the F knows? That's pretty much all I can say. We'll see what happens with this virus. We'll see what happens with everything, like the whole planet. Man, this country, because I'm in the States, for anyone who's watching and doesn't know that, can't tell from my generic accent. Well, I guess it's an American accent if you're not from the States. But yeah, it's been a heck of a 10 years. And also, this is obviously the weird new background that I've decided to do. And it will be better once I finally find these freaking magnets. I'm going to put up this poster, because it's been sitting here forever. All I want is to just, boom, just like right there. Right, you can't see Snorlax, but he's right there. Just boom, Snorlax. But just somewhere in this vicinity. Probably not here, because that's uneven, because I have my other bookshelf, and my OCD won't let me put it like right here, because that's not even, and I wouldn't be able to look at it. So I have to figure that out, but I also have to find the magnets. But eventually I'll be able to put that thing back up. I lost a box of magnets in lockdown. It doesn't even make sense. It does not make sense. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I can't find a box of magnets. That's what happens. Won't lose a T-shirt from 10 years ago that I don't. I only wear this indoors. I would never, ever wear this outside. I should have worn it to the reunion. I didn't even think about it, but I would never wear this shirt outside. That would be ridiculous. But I can keep this. I still have a shirt from like 7th grade. I have a South Park shirt with Cartman on it that says "Respect my authority." I can still fit that shirt. That's the weird thing. I can fit that shirt, but I can never fit. I mean, suits are obviously made different, but I can still fit that shirt. It's the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, I've had that shirt since 7th grade. Still got it. I've lost a lot of other cool things since then, like my freaking Doctor Strange robe. That I left at my ex's house, but I bought another one off of eBay, so it's cool. I got it back, and it's all good. But that's it. Would love to know if you guys have any crazy stories about the last 10 years. If you've graduated from, in 2010, I would love to know if, you were able to go to your, high school reunion, if you guys happen to do it earlier, or, if you're just pushing off till next year. How do you feel different, from high school to now? Honestly, I feel like I'm the same person, just nerdier, to be totally honest. I thought that as I was walking in, I was like, I still feel like the exact same person. I'm just older. And that's really it. I'm older, and I have more nerdy things. I've traveled more. I went out of the country before I went to high school, so that doesn't really count. But I've went to new places, in the last 10 years. But we'd love to know what crazy stories you guys have from, just the last 10 years, even regardless of whether or not you've graduated. What's some of the big things that have happened in the last 10 years, or, how have you grown as a person, or how have you not grown, maybe? Just what little things have happened where you're just like, you don't really think about it too much, but now you've gotten to the point where you can look back on that stuff. Like, I think about it now, I can think of old cartoons, or, if I hear the Ha Ha Puffy Ami Yumi song from Cartoon Network, if anyone watching isn't, too young to remember that, old show on Cartoon Network. And that was probably my first actual introduction into, like, J-pop and, like, Japanese music as a whole. Was actually, well, I guess technically it would have been anything from anime, which, that might not be true. Maybe Samurai Champloo. I think Samurai Champloo, that song was technically actually made by a Japanese dude. But most anime at the time, they did make English openings. Like, Dragon Ball Z did not have the original Japanese opening at all. It was the, like, crazy... I can't even think of what... I know they say some actual word, but whatever they say in the Dragon Ball Z theme song, definitely the U.S. version of that. Even Naruto, when that first came out, it was, like, the U.S. version. It was not the actual, Japanese opening. But, I don't know. Hi Hi Puffy Yami Yumi. Give me good flashbacks on that one. Teen Titans, good stuff. But, yeah, it's been 10 years since I graduated high school. So we'll see what happens in the next 10. But just wanted to make this random video because that's definitely worth talking about. Because it's just like, high school reunion. This is not something I even thought about. I was just like, whatever. And then they actually, like, reached, the people that care always reach out. Because I was like, I'm not going to do crap. Like, if we don't have one, I don't care. Like, that's how I was. And then they reached out and, like, they actually set something up, and then I was like, oh, well, I guess I have to go if people reach out to me, because I was like, I know I'm not about to do any work. I don't care. So that's just how I was. But I went because it was easy, and it was offered to me. But good time. It was definitely a good time. I would love to, like I said, do a big one next year if we can. I still won't be a part of setting any of that up because I don't care that much. But, if it happens, it happens. So we shall see. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I just wanted to make a video talking about how I went to my 10-year high school reunion. Feels weird to say, but it's also just like, doesn't seem that long. It's not like, I don't feel, people always say the whole thing where it's like, oh, I feel old and this and that, and I'm just like, life is life, whatever. I've never had that weird issue about, like, feeling old or anything like that. I found a gray hair recently. I found, like, white hair. It wasn't even gray. It was, like, full-on white. I was like, finally. I have, like, that anime-style white hair I've always wanted. It was, like, stark white. It wasn't even gray. Oh, I also had to cut it. That can be a video in itself. Like, stupid guard came off when I was, like, going over my hair. Had, like, a whole little, my mini afro thing going. And the guard came off as I was combing my hair. And I put, like, a divot. Like, and I had, like, an inch worth of hair. And it went down to this. And it was by mistake. And, like, as I felt, I was like, that went too far. And as I realized that, I saw the guard, like, dropping to the floor. And I looked, and it was just a hole like this in the side of my head. And I was like, you can't cover that up. And it all had to go. And I was so upset. I was like, dang. But it is what it is. I'll just let it grow out. I guess that's all I can really do is just start over. Because that was a crazy mistake. I'd never had that happen before. But I was like, I guess it's all gone now. And I just had to cut it all off. And it really sucked because it was in the middle of the night. I was just like, I'll just even it out, balance it out, cut it down like a tiny bit. And then that happened. I was like, Well, now I gotta spend like an extra 30 minutes cutting all my hair off, and I was mad because it was already like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was just like, great. Now I'm doing this in the middle of the night, and I had to leave the hair because it was 2 in the morning. I couldn't vacuum it because I was like, I don't want to, I can't turn the vacuum on at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I just had to leave it on the floor in my bathroom, and I had to vacuum the next day, and I was just like, this is stupid. Like, this is the random crap you deal with, just random things like, I gotta cut all my hair off, and now I have to leave it on the ground because I don't want to turn the vacuum on at 2 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock. It definitely wasn't 1 o'clock because I went to the reunion, so I was trying to do like everything that I didn't do that day. I tried to do in the middle of the night, so it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I'll just do a quick little lineup, and then the guard fell off, and I just went, and I was like, no, and then all my hair had to come off. So short again. So that's life. That's 10 years. That's what happens in 10 years. You just things happen. Everything stays, if you will. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any random comments, I said that like, what was that, 15 minutes ago I said that, and then, ending number 2, possibly 3. I always end my videos like 3 or 4 times. But if you guys have any comments, please put them down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.